Gaza ceasefire between Israel and Hamas comes into force following delay over release of hostage list. Gaza ceasefire has come into effect. Israel says the long-anticipated ceasefire deal has officially come into effect. The first 3 hostages to be released by Hamas have been named as Doron Steinbrecher, 31, and dual British-Israeli Emily Damari, 28, who were kidnapped from their kibbutz, and Romy Gonen, 24, who was taken from the Supernova Festival in October 2023. They are expected to be released later today. The ceasefire deal comes in 3 stages. In the first stage of the ceasefire deal, 33 hostages are set to be released over 6 weeks in exchange for hundreds of Palestinians imprisoned by Israel. The remainder are to be released in a second phase. The 98 hostages, some of whom are believed to be dead, include 4 people taken hostage in 2014 and 2015 that mourn now on the resignation of Itamar Ben-Gvir, Benjamin Netanyahu's hardline national security minister. His departure does not come as a complete shock, as he threatened last week he would quit the government if it ratified the ceasefire deal, which it ended up doing. He claimed it would erase the achievements of the war by releasing Palestinian militants and ceding territory in Gaza. In a statement, Ben-Gvir's party Jewish Power called the ceasefire deal a capitulation to Hamas and denounced what it called the release of hundreds of murderers and the renouncing of the Israeli military's achievements in the war in Gaza. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu retains a slim majority in the Knesset, the Israeli parliament, despite the resignations that Ben-Gvir last week urged far-right Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich, who has described the deal as a catastrophe, to join him in a last-ditch attempt to prevent a ceasefire deal. Smotrich's religious Zionism party threatened to quit the government if it did not go back to war to defeat Hamas after the first 6-week phase of the ceasefire was completed. The conflict in the Middle East has destroyed countless lives, and the horrific scenes since October 7, 2023 from Gaza and Israel have haunted millions around the world. Understanding what has happened and what comes next is more important than ever, with correspondents on the ground in the Middle East and reporters providing live updates around the clock. The Guardian is well placed to provide comprehensive, fact-checked reporting to help all of us make sense of events which have reshaped global politics. But we appreciate that not everyone can afford to pay for news right now. That's why we choose to keep our journalism open for everyone. If this is you, please continue to read for free. But if you can we count on your support at this perilous time? Help power the Guardian's journalism by supporting us on a monthly basis and enable us to keep our quality reporting open for everyone. Bethan McKernan, the Guardian's Jerusalem correspondent, has more information about the 3 Israeli female hostages to be freed later today as part of the ceasefire deal, which has still not come into effect. Hamas's armed wing has released the names of the 3 living female hostages due to be returned home today. Emily Damari, 28, Romy Gonen, 24, and Doron Steinbrecher, 31. Steinbrecher was incorrectly named as Steinbrecher in the message delivered by Al-Qassam's Telegram channel. Israel has not yet confirmed the list given by Hamas. Damari and Steinbrecher were abducted from their homes in kibbutz Kfar Aza, while Gonen was taken from the Nova Festival. Video from October 7, 2023 shows that Damari was shot in the hand and the leg during the attack by Hamas. Steinbrecher appeared in a hostage video released by Hamas in January last year. She appeared to be in a tunnel and had lost a lot of weight. There had been no signs of life from either Damari or Gonen since the day they were seized, although a hostage released in the week-long ceasefire in November 2023 told Gonen's family that she was alive, but in bad condition. Damari holds British citizenship, and her club, Tottenham Hotspur, came together with Arsena during the North London Derby last week to honor her, releasing yellow balloons in the 7th minute of the game. The color adopted by the hostages' families. Israel has received the names of the hostages to be released by Hamas today. Official. An Israeli official has confirmed to the Reuters news agency that the names of the hostages to be released today, see post at 8.30, have been received. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said the ceasefire, which had been due to start at 6:30 GMT, would not begin until Israel received the names of Israeli hostages to be released on first day handed over. Reports Israel has received names of the hostages set to be released on the first day of the ceasefire agreement. Israel's principal mainstream news outlet, Channel 12, is reporting. The ceasefire deal, which has been approved by both sides following extensive mediation talks in Qatar, comes in 3 stages. The first 6-week phase of the agreement will see more than 30 hostages, including women, children, and elderly people, exchanged for Palestinian prisoners in Israeli jails. The releases will be staggered. On Sunday, 3 Israeli hostages are expected to be released, followed by 4 more on the 7th day, and again at the end of each week of the ceasefire. That it is still unclear when the ceasefire will begin. It was due to start at 8:30 local time, 6:30 Greenwich Mean Time, but has been delayed. Hamas, the Palestinian militant group, attributed the delay to a technical issue. The list of names of the Israeli hostages to be released was a major stumbling block, so could mean the ceasefire coming into effect is imminent. Israeli minister resigns from government over ceasefire deal. Israel's far-right national security minister, Itamar Ben-Gvir, and 2 other ministers from his nationalist religious party have resigned from Benjamin Netanyahu's government in protest over the Gaza ceasefire deal. Fighting continued in Gaza on Sunday morning past the time set for a ceasefire after Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Hamas had failed to provide the names of 3 hostages it was due to release later in the day. Hamas blamed the delay in handing over the names of the hostages, due to be released on Sunday, on technical field reasons, and that the names would be released any minute. It said in a statement that it was committed to the ceasefire deal announced last week. The Hamas-run Civil Defense Agency said 8 people had been killed after the Israeli strikes in the Gaza Strip since the ceasefire was supposed to take effect this morning. 3 Palestinians were killed in eastern Gaza City by Israeli drones, medics in the territory said on Sunday. The Israeli military said on Sunday that it had struck terror targets in northern and central Gaza. Israeli military spokesperson Daniel Hagari said in a statement at the time the ceasefire was meant to take effect that Hamas was not meeting its obligations, and that Israel would continue to attack as long as Hamas did not meet its demands. 3 female hostages were expected to be released on Sunday afternoon through the Red Cross, in return for 30 Palestinian prisoners each. The highly anticipated ceasefire would open the way to a possible end to a 15-month war that has upended the Middle East. Hamas official says list of hostages to be given any moment. As we have already mentioned, the ceasefire was due to come into effect at 8:30 local time, 6:30 Greenwich Mean Time. But Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said the temporary truce will not go ahead until Hamas provides the names of the first hostages it plans to release. AFP is now quoting a Hamas official saying that the list of hostages would be handed over any moment, but that complexities in Gaza and Israeli bombing were causing delays. The official, who took part in the ceasefire negotiations, said at any moment the names of the 3 prisoners will be handed over, but the complexities of the field situation and the continued bombing have delayed that. We have not been able to independently verify this information. An Israeli official said the Gaza ceasefire deal was expected to go forward despite the delay in the start of the truce, Associated Press is reporting. The official said on Sunday that the timing of the deal's progress remained in question, but also that mediators had provided assurances that Hamas would deliver the list of hostages meant to be handed over by Hamas to Israel. The official spoke on condition of anonymity because of the ongoing efforts to resolve the matter. The delay on the first day of the ceasefire has underscored the fragility of the internationally mediated deal. Arabi TV has reported that the Israeli military is shooting at Palestinians trying to return to their home in Rafah, southern Gaza. 3 Palestinians were killed in eastern Gaza City by Israeli drones that opened fire, medics in the territory said on Sunday. The Israeli military confirmed it was continuing to carry out attacks in the Strip, adding it had struck terror targets in northern and central Gaza. The strikes came as the ceasefire implementation was delayed, with Israel accusing Hamas of not fulfilling its obligation to send Israel the list of hostages to be released on the first day. Hamas said the delay problems were technical. According to some unofficial sources, there would be a problem of correspondence between the Israeli hostages to be released and the Palestinian prisoners to be freed.